Hello, hello. My name is Tim Ziuchkovski. I am a junior esports athlete at Anderson High School. And I just want you to know that my favorite battery is a complementary metal oxide semiconductor. But on a serious note, I want to talk about hesitation in our faith. Oftentimes, we may freeze or hesitate because we're afraid. I know I have struggled with that. I have struggled with doing what God's telling me to do just because it's out of my comfort zone. Have you ever done that? I have had times when people have insulted my faith, and I didn't have the courage to stand up for it. And now when I look back on it, I end up thinking of different people in the Bible, such as Moses, Joshua, and even Simon Peter. Peter denied that he even knew Jesus. When we find ourselves in situations like that, one of the first things that comes to mind are excuses. Whether they be from stubbornness, fear, or just plain laziness, they're just ways of keeping us from doing what God wants us to do. One other person in the Bible who had a similar situation to this was Gideon. Now, God had called Gideon to get together some guys, right, and go get rid of these other bad guys. So he was afraid. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to lose his life. I mean, he was scared. So he developed a test. He went, look, God, I got this here animal skin. Now, I'm going to lay it on the ground. And if in the morning it is wet with dew and the ground is dry, I will know that you want me to do this. Yep. So he did that. And the next morning, when the skin was wet and the ground was dry, he hesitated. He went, this could be a coincidence. It could just totally happen by chance. So this time, let's try this again. So like right here. If the ground is wet and the skin is dry, then I will know. I will be absolutely certain, right? So the next morning, when the ground was wet and the skin was dry, he hesitated again. He went, let's try this again, right? But at this point, I would like to point out that he has now had a random animal skin in his front yard for 2 days. I mean, what would the neighbors think? They'd probably be like, this man is crazy. But are we not the same way when we're hesitating or freezing? God calls us to be a light to the world. He calls us to share the good news with everyone. He calls us to do whatever he wants us to do. So what are we afraid of? Fact is, we don't have anything to be afraid of, because we have the unstoppable God with us. Joshua 1:9 says, be strong and courageous. Do not be frightful or dismayed. The Lord your God is with you wherever you go. So tonight, if God is telling you to do something, do it. Go for it. Because you're unstoppable when you're with the unstoppable God.